I am making an Egyptian God card deck profile. This deck is really fun to use, and I'm still in the process of learning what cards can and can't be in the deck, so that to make room for hand traps. But as far as I can tell, this deck wants to go second, but can go first depending on the opening hand. So starting off with the deck profile, or with monsters, I play 3 copies of Angel 01. 01 says you can special summon it from your hand by revealing a level 7 or higher monster. So an Egyptian God card or another monster. And then you can only summon it by its own effect once per turn. And when it's special summoned by its own effect, you get 1 additional tribute summon for that turn. Or 1 additional tribute summon for a level 7 or higher monster. Then I play 3 copies of Tellus the Little Angel. Tellus' effect is when it's sent from the field to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 Little Wing token. And then while you control a Little Wing token, you can banish Tellus from your graveyard and a spell card from your hand to then summon 2 more Little Wing tokens. So this card will give you 3 of them by itself. Then I play 3 copies of Reactor Slime. The only effect that this has in this version of the deck is the once per turn or during your main phase, you can activate its effect to summon 2 slime tokens, but you cannot normal or special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except for divine monsters. Then I play 3 copies of Ra's Disciple. I honestly think you can survive without Ra's Disciple in this deck. Just because more times than often than not, Ra's Disciple has actually crippled me because of its effects. When it's summoned, you can special summon up to 2 Ra's Disciple from your hand or deck. It cannot be tributed except for the tribute summon of the Egyptian God cards. Also, you cannot special summon monsters except by the effect of Ra's Disciple. That last effect is what I feel like makes it bad. Like, it's good every once in a while, but more often than not, it's actually bad. But moving on for the level 10 monsters, I play 3 copies of Guardian Slime. Guardian Slime is a free summon when you take damage. And then during the damage step, you can activate its effect, so its defense will be equal to the opposing monster's attack. So it can't die in battle by its own effect. And then if it goes from the field to the graveyard, you can search for 1 spell or trap that specifically lists the Winged Dragon of Ra. Then I play 1 copy of the Winged Dragon of Ra. I'm honestly going to take the Ra's Disciples out for a 2nd copy of Ra and 2 copies of the Winged Dragon of Ra Sphere Mode. But the Winged Dragon of Ra says when it's tribute summoned, or it cannot be special summoned, it requires 3 tributes to be normal summoned, or cannot be normal set. The card's normal summon cannot be negated. When it's normal summoned, other cards and effects cannot be activated. And then when it's normal summoned, you can pay life points, and we have a 100 left, and that becomes its attack and defense. And that has another effect where you can tribute, or you can pay 1,000 life points to then destroy 1 monster in play. But that's the reason why I wanted to play Sphere Mode in this deck, because you can tribute the Winged Dragon of Ra Sphere Mode to then summon the Winged Dragon of Ra with 4,000 attack points. That, or play, or I can take out other cards and play Ancient Chant so I can search for the Winged Dragon of Ra. And then give it even more attack points plus the 100 or the life points I pay. The Winged Dragon of Ra is also my favorite of the Egyptian God cards. Then I play 2 copies of Slifer the Sky Dragon. Slifer's effect is the same as the Winged Dragon of Ra until you get to the unique part, which is rather than paying life points for its attack is equal to the number of cards in your hand times 1,000. And then when your opponent summons a monster in attack mode, then that monster will lose 2,000 attack points, and if its attack points were reduced to 0, it's destroyed. The loophole is summoning monsters in defense, or special summoning monsters with 0 attack. Because if the monster's attack was 0 to begin with, then it wasn't reduced to 0, which means it wasn't destroyed. It does not get destroyed, I mean. Then I play 2 copies of Obelisk the Tormentor. Obelisk cannot be. Let's see. He has built-in protection. Okay, so Obelisk's effect is neither player can target with card effects. You contribute 2 monsters to destroy all monsters your opponent controls, but Obelisk cannot attack the turn that effect is used. And Obelisk can Slifer both share the effects of if they have a special summon during the end phase, destroy the special summoned monster. And ironically, with this deck, you use Monster Reborn to summon Egyptian God cards every once in a while. It's actually kind of funny. But that is it for the monsters. Moving on to the spells, I play 1 copy of Terraforming, so that you can search the field spell that protects your Egyptian God cards when they're special summoned. Then I play 1 copy of Monster Reborn, 1 copy of Divine Evolution. Divine Evolution says that its activation can't be negated. You choose 1 monster you control whose original type is Divine Beast, or whose original name is the Wicked Avatar, the Wicked Dreadroot, or the Wicked Eraser. Except a monster already affected by Divine Evolution, it gains 1,000 attack and defense. Its effects and effect activations and its activated effects can't be negated. Also, it gains the following effect of when it declares an attack, you can make your opponent send 1 monster they control to the graveyard, and it's their choice. So if your opponent only has 1 monster you can attack, that they get to send their monster, but then you get to redeclare the attack because your attack target left the field. Then, moving on to, I play 1 copy of Fist of Fate. Fist of Fate can only be played while you control Obelisk the Tormentor. You negate the effects of 1 face-up effect monster your opponent controls, non-targeting. Destroy, and if you do, destroy it. Then, if you activate it during your main phase, you can Harpy's Feather Duster your opponent's field. And also, its activation cannot be negated. Then I play 1 copy of Blaze Cannon. Blaze Cannon's activation can't be negated. While you control the Winged Dragon of Ra, it gains the following effects for this turn. And the Winged Dragon of Ra's effects cannot be negated as well. Where it's unaffected by opponent's card effects. When an attacker is declared involving this card, you contribute any number of monsters that did not attack. The Winged Dragon of Ra gains attack points equal to their combined attack points. And then, after damage calculation, if they attack, you can send all monsters your opponent controls to the graveyard. Then I play 1 copy of Thunder Force Attack. Thunder Force Attack cannot be negated. It can only be activated while you control a monster's original name with Slifer the Sky Dragon. But you can activate it to destroy all face-up monsters your opponent controls. And if you activate it during your main phase, you can draw cards equal to the number of monsters destroyed by its effect. And you can only attack with Slifer the Sky Dragon when you use this effect. Then I play 2 copies of Millennium Revelation. Millennium Revelation has the effect of you can send a Divine Beast from your hand to the graveyard to add 1 copy of Monster Reborn from your deck or graveyard to your hand. And then you can send Millennium Revelation to the graveyard so you can summon the Winged Dragon of Ra of Monster Reborn, ignoring its summoning conditions, but then it gets sent to the graveyard during the end phase. So this is one of the 2 cards you can search, the cards you can search off of Guardian Slime are one of these 3. One of the 2 Millennium Revelations or Blaze Cannon. Then I play 3 copies of Soul Crossing. Soul Crossing lets you tribute... when you activate it, or during the main phase immediately after its effect resolves, tribute summon 1 Divine Beast monster. When you do, you contribute a monster or monsters. So you contribute any number of your opponent's monsters that are from 1 to 3, as if you controlled them yourself. But if you do that, then you can only activate 1 card effect that turn, other than the effect of a Divine Beast. You can activate 1 Soul Crossing per turn. Then I play 3 copies of Mount of the Bound Creator. This makes so your level 10 or higher monsters cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. It makes so that if a level 10 monster destroys another monster in battle, the controller of the destroyed monster takes 1,000 points of damage. and then Mound of the Bound creator on the field was destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you get to search for one Divine Beast monster. Then I play 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance just for the +2. I prefer Pot of Extravagance over Pot of Prosperity in this deck, just because oftentimes you'll want to draw 2 instead of Excavate for 1. And also the fact that Pot of Extravagance is your only draw card in this deck, so it doesn't really matter that you can't draw cards for the rest of the turn. Then to finish off the main deck, I play 3 copies of Ultimate Divine Beast. You can probably cut this down to 2, but I like it at 3. And its effect is when an opponent's monster has an attack, you can discard 1 spell or trap, target a Divine Beast in your graveyard, special summon it in defense position, and then your opponent redeclares their attack on that Divine Beast. And then during the end phase, if you control a Divine Beast monster, you can banish any cards that are on your face up on your opponent's field that activated their effects this turn. So it's a cute little control card, but I have yet to see it actually work. But moving on to the extra, I can play 1 copy of Salamangreat Almirage just to link off Telesol Wing Angel. Relinquished Animus for if I have a 0/1 but can't really do much of anything else. Link Karibo for the same reason. Barricade Board Blocker to protect my field spell and Millennium Revelation. 3 copies of Nightmare Phoenix to deal with spell and trap or back row. 2 copies of Nightmare Unicorn to deal with opponent's cards I don't like. Tresbana to deal with back row. I guess until I can find my Topologic Bomber Dragon or Boral Sword. Borolo Dragon. And then those are all the links don't really matter in this deck. The main monster you'll care about is Egyptian God Slime. Egyptian God Slime says that your opponent cannot target other monsters you control for attacks or card effects except for Egyptian God Slime. And then if you attribute someone a Divine Beast, you can treat Egyptian God Slime as 3 of the tributes. So I just like it because you can turn your Guardian Slime into a 3000 attack and defense monster that protects other monsters you control, and the fact that it's just 3000 body. But that's it for my Egyptian God deck profile. If there are any suggestions on how to improve it, decks you'd like to see me make, or decks you'd like to see face each other, feel free to comment below. Thanks for watching.